The sound of sirens broke the quiet on Sherborne Avenue on Sunday, turning the house of a Hollywood star into a terrible crime scene. Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle were found dead inside in a terrible way. Nick, their own son, was the main suspect. This terrible event didn't just stop the man who made people laugh. It broke up a family and put a $200 million business in limbo. From meathead millions to a sad ending, here is the story of a fortune that ended in tears. Rob Reiner, who made us laugh as meathead on All in the Family and cry with classics like The Princess Bride, was dead. His wife of 36 years, Michelle Singer Reiner, slept next to him. They did not die quietly in their sleep. They had been hurt. The first people to see the situation said it was horrible since it was so bad. Their daughter, Romy Reiner, was the one who found them. She lived next door. A massage therapist had come to the house for an appointment, but they couldn't get in. She asked Romy for help. Romy went into her parents' house thinking they would be sleeping. Instead, she found a nightmare. At first, she could only see her dad. She went to get aid, not knowing that her mother was already in the room and had left. The police found something unexpected when they got there. The killer was not a stranger. Nick Reiner, Rob and Michelle's son, was the major suspect. The police didn't find him at the house. He had left. Hours later, authorities located him at a gas station near the University of Southern California, where he was buying a drink. He was taken into custody and charged with killing the two people who had given him everything. Rob Reiner came from a famous Hollywood family, but he worked hard to make a lot of money on his own. Carl Reiner, his father, was a famous comedian who made the Dick Van Dyke Show. Rob didn't only want to be Carl's kid, though. He wanted to be independent. He had $200 million when he died. This money came from performing, directing, and being a skilled businessman. Rob's first big break came as an actor. He played Michael Meathead Stivic in the TV sitcom All in the Family in the 1970s. It was the most popular show in the country. He was the son-in-law of Archie Bunker. For this part, he received 2 Emmys. Actors in TV shows get paid residuals. This implies that the actors get paid every time the show airs on TV. For more than 50 years, All in the Family has been on TV. It never ends. This gave Rob a regular flow of money that lasted his whole life. It was like a faucet that never stopped. The meathead money kept rolling in even while he wasn't working. Rob didn't just act, though. He wanted to be in charge. He began making movies in the 1980s. He won a lot of games in a row, something that nearly no other director has ever done. He made a lot of hits. He was in charge of This Is Spinal Tap, a famous comedy that people still quote today. He made the movie Stand By Me, which was a great smash and only cost $8 million to make. He gave us The Princess Bride, a fairy tale that produces money from books and toys. He was in charge of the romantic comedy When Harry Met Sally, which is one of the most famous ones ever. He made Misery, a terrifying movie that garnered Kathy Bates an Oscar. He also directed A Few Good Men, which generated more than $240 million and was a huge hit. Rob got paid millions of dollars only to helm A Few Good Men, a movie like that. But the big money comes when you own the movie-making company. And that's exactly what Rob did. Rob Reiner didn't get most of his money from his job. It originated from a clever business move. Rob helped launch a production firm named Castle Rock Entertainment in 1987. He called it after a town in Stephen King's books because his movie Stand By Me was based on a King story. Castle Rock became a stronghold. They made outstanding movies like as The Shawshank Redemption. But their biggest hit wasn't a movie. It was a show on TV that had nothing to do with anything. The sitcom Seinfeld was made by Castle Rock. The show wasn't particularly popular initially. It almost didn't happen, but Rob and his partners made sure it did. In the end, it was the most profitable sitcom ever. Rob owned part of the program because he was one of the bosses at Castle Rock. Seinfeld has made a lot of money. Some sources indicate that Castle Rock made $1.5 billion from the show. When you watch Seinfeld again or on Netflix, the individuals who made it get money. Ted Turner, a big television mogul, bought Castle Rock from Rob and his partners in 1993. They got roughly $160 million for the company. This sale made Rob very affluent very quickly, but he maintained making money from the enterprises he helped make. This deal is what made his bank account so enormous when he died. It was money from Seinfeld. Rob Reiner used all that money to buy some of the most stunning mansions in California. He didn't just acquire homes, he bought history. His real estate holdings was valued tens of millions of dollars. The mansion where Rob and Michelle died was a famous Hollywood landmark. This neighborhood is quite nice and is called Brentwood Park. The house was bought by Rob in 1991. He got it from another famous TV star, Norman Lear. All in the Family was made by Norman Lear. Henry Fonda, a well-known actor, lived in the mansion before Norman Lear did. It was erected in 1936 and appears like a classic rural house. The main residence is almost 10,000 square feet. There is also a guest house on the site. In 1991, Rob bought the mansion for roughly $4.75 million. That was a lot of money back then. But now the mansion is worth between $10 million and $13.5 million. The land in Brentwood has become more and more valuable. This was the family's principal dwelling. They raised their kids there and threw parties there. Sadly, here is where their narrative came to an end. Rob also had a beautiful house on the beach in Malibu. The Malibu colony is a gated neighborhood where this house stands. This is where billionaires and Hollywood stars dwell, one of the most private places in the world. In the 1990s, Rob bought this house. It is worth between $15 million and $20 million now. Malibu's oceanfront homes are like gold mines. They might rent it out while the family wasn't utilizing it. People pay $100,000 to $150,000 a month only to live there in the summer. This one house made enough money to support a complete family. Rob was very skilled at making money by buying low and selling high. He acquired a mansion in Beverly Hills in 1988 for roughly $777,000. He sold it for approximately $2 million a few years later. He knew where to go. His real estate was a large chunk of the $200 million he had. You can purchase enormous houses and nice cars with money, but it can't repair everything. Rob Reiner was the father of 4 kids. He adopted his oldest daughter, Tracy. After then, he and his wife Michelle had 3 kids, Jake, Nick, and Romy. Jake worked as an actor and news reporter. Romy went on to make movies. Tracy was an actress. Nick, the middle kid, had a hard time. His life cast a shadow over the family's happy success. When Nick Reiner was arrested, he was 32 years old. But his problems began when he was an adolescent. He had a very bad drug problem. He was hooked on heavy narcotics like heroin and meth. He went to rehab 17 times. Nick sometimes slept on the streets. He was homeless in places including Texas, Maine, and New Jersey. He slept in parks and wouldn't go home. Rob and Michelle did everything they could to aid him. They paid for therapy, rehab clinics, and doctors, but Nick's demons were too strong. Rob Reiner was a storyteller, so he made a movie to try to make things better with his kid. They made a movie together in 2015 called Being Charlie. Nick's life was the basis for the movie. It was about a father who is running for office and a kid who is addicted to drugs. Nick and Rob worked together to write the script. They talked about the movie on TV shows. They stated it helped them get to know each other better. Rob stated they didn't mean for it to be therapeutic, but it turned out that way. But now that I think about it, the interviews sound melancholy. Nick appeared uncomfortable and quiet during one interview, while his dad did all the talking. People who saw it thought there was still a lot of hurt between them. During the writing process, Rob said they were yelling at each other. He stated it hurt to remember those bad times. The movie ended with hope, but life didn't. It wasn't simply drugs. Later, it came out that Nick had a major mental disease. He was told he had schizophrenia. This is a neurological condition that can make people hear voices or think things that aren't true. Nick was on medicine for this sickness, but just before the murders, he got a new prescription. It can be highly harmful to change schizophrenia medicine. It can make someone unstable. Nick's parents didn't want him to live on the streets anymore because he was having a hard time. They put him in the guest house on their property in Brentwood. They wanted to keep an eye on him. They thought he would be safer if he stayed close to home. But his sister Romy was afraid. Reports indicate she was afraid of Nick and didn't like how near he lived. She was scared since she had seen him lose his temper before. The Reiner family went to a Christmas party on Friday, December 12th, the day before the killings. The well-known comedian Conan O'Brien was in charge of it. Things should have gone well that night, but they didn't. People who were at the party reported Nick was acting quite weird. He was asking folks if they were well known. He was dressed casually, in a hoodie, while everyone else was dressed up in fancy holiday clothing. He was different from the rest of them and seemed upset. After that, Nick and actor Bill Hader got into a strange fight. Nick cut off Bill Hader when he was chatting to Rob Reiner built a legendary career in Hollywood, hit films, massive success, a fortune most people only dream of, but behind the numbers lies a painful reality. As Reiner reflected on his legacy, it became clear that wealth doesn't always bring peace. Family decisions, personal sacrifices, and the heavy responsibility that comes with success. Those closest to him revealed that managing a legacy can be just as emotional as losing it, because money can divide, memories can hurt, and success can come at a cost few talk about. In the end, the real weight isn't the fortune left behind, it's the emotions tied to it.